Hey guys, welcome to Peace in the Garden. Today I will be canning pickles for the first time. We're going to get right into it right now. I will show you the ingredients as I'm doing now. And I'm just excited to be making my first canning video. All right. So the first step is to cut your 8 cucumbers. We're going to do that right now. Okay, now that your cucumbers are cut all up, now you cut up your onions next. All right, so the next step is take your strainer, and I have these right here because I don't have a big strainer, so I have 2 bowls here. All right, so now you're gonna put some cucumbers, then some onions, and so forth until it's filled. So keep in mind, if you had a totally big strainer, you won't have to do this. Just have a big bowl, do half and half, and put them in here. This was not even worth it. I thought I would have more, so I'm just gonna throw that all in here together. And then you're going to take your 1 cup of salt and you're going to pull it in here. And the objective is to shake it around. See, that's why I did that. But shake it around as much as you can. I'm trying to like scoop it so I won't mess them up, to get it down in here real good. And mix them up real good. And if I had a bigger strainer, I could just shake it around evenly. I'm just going to pull it all in there. Okay. And I know it looks like it's a lot of salt, but it's going to drain off. And what you're doing is trying to mix it up a little bit. Now, my understanding is that you can put it in the refrigerator for 3 hours. So that keeps the pickles crisp. Some people do a nice water bath over it for an hour and sit it to the side outside the refrigerator. I have also heard that some people also just leave it out for an hour and a half. But because this is my first time and I want to try to make them crisp as I can, I'm having a hard time with this. I'm going to put them in the refrigerator. Most of that salt is going to drain off and you'll be good. See how it's coming down now? So that's the objective. So I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for 3 hours. So I was thinking about something. Okay, so we're going to throw them in the bowl. That's easier to ensure they get shooken up real good. You're going to get everything nice and coated and just shake, shake, shake. The cylinder right here. And I'm going to pull it back in here. So all that salt is going to drain off. See how it's always almost draining off some now. And drain off into the cylinder. Matter of fact, let me get all this out. Okay, there we go. All right, then you put it back in here. Ooh, look at that. See how it drained off? Okay, so yeah, it's going to drain off. So 3 hours in the refrigerator. Okay, guys, so now that we're waiting for the onions and the cucumbers to solidify with the salt for 3 hours, we're going to do this part here. So get your cookware that can fit all the extra ingredients, and then pull in your sugar. Celery seeds, that's 1 tablespoon. 1 tablespoon of ginger. 1 tablespoon of turmeric. And turmeric is an anti-inflammatory, so that will be really good for your cucumbers. And then also yellow mustard seed, 2 tablespoons. And I'm sorry, 1 tablespoon of yellow mustard seeds and 1 tablespoon of peppercorn. And then the last thing you're going to put in is your vinegar. Now, this recipe is the bread and butter pickle. So really, it did call for 2 cups of distilled vinegar or white vinegar. I did not have that. I only had 1 cup. So I did 1 cup of what I had. And then I also did 1 cup of apple cider vinegar. Now, if you want it to be the exact recipe, you need to do white vinegar. I'm using what I have today. So then you pour that in there, and it has all the ingredients. What you're going to do, you're going to take this to the stove, and you want to let it boil down to all the sugar is out of the all the sugar dissolves. So let's do that right now. Okay, so we have it over at the stove, and again, you want to bring it to a boil, and all the sugar should dissolve out of here. So I went ahead and add 1 extra cup of vinegar, so it's a total of 3 cups. If you're going to be doing the canning process, you will definitely need to the Morton's canning salt if you're going to can. If you're going to just be putting them in the refrigerator after you put them in the jars or what have you, and you're not going to be canning, then you don't have to worry about that. But they say it's important to use canning salt if you're going to be canning. All right, so I think the sugar is looking kind of dissolved. I'm gonna let it go to a boil first, and it's rising to a boil now. So this is ready. So we're going to turn this off and put it to the side and go to the next step. All right, so turn your canner on so it can come to a nice simmer, and then you're going to take your glasses that you washed and clean and sit them in there. But these are the canning tools that you will need: a funnel. You will need this. This kind of measures the space you have in the cup. This is the magnet that you would pick the tops up with. This one here is what you use to grab the jars and take them out of the hot water. And these are other 2 tools. So each of my glasses I have washed and cleaned. I didn't know exactly how many I would need, so I have a total of 7 of them. And what you want to do is, which is most important, is you want to take a napkin, go across the rim, check and make sure nothing is cracked, because that's a safety thing. You don't want anything cracked. Even though they knew stuff can happen, so you want to check each one of your lids to make sure. And I'm using a napkin because you don't want to use your hand. I mean, you could, but if it's a crack there, you don't want to cut yourself. So you can just open a napkin up and do like this, and you can feel exactly if there's a crack. So I have already done that. Your water bath canning come to a boil. You want to put your glasses into the water bath canning. Now that's very important, because you do not want to put like lukewarm glasses into the canner, because your brine is going to be hot, everything's going to be hot. So you want the temperature to pretty much be the same, so that your glasses may not, possibly crack because it's coming from cold to hot. So you want to get them in the same temperature. And I just washed these in hot water, so they still kind of warm, not super warm. So when it comes to a simmer, you're going to put them in, all your glasses in there, and let it simmer for a little bit to keep them nice and hot. So we're going to do that in a moment. Okay, so now my water has been brought to a simmer. I'm going to immerse my glasses, my jars, into the water. I fill it up over the jars because I don't want them banging up against each other, tilting over. So I saw when I tried to do it the first time with less water, it didn't work well for me. So I guess it depends on what type of canner you have. So I'm submerging them. Try not to let them touch one another if all possible, so they won't crack or anything like that. I believe this holds 6 or 7. All in there. And make sure you have a little ladle, because you're going to have to take that brine and maybe have to scoop it to the top. So you're going to need a ladle. So we're going to let this simmer. All right, so make sure your brine stays on. Let it continue to just stay on, boil or just simmer, because you want that to be hot when you pull the liquid in from the hot jars. These are the tops. Make sure you wash your tops thoroughly. Do not submerge these in like super hot boiling water, because it would take the seal off of it at the top. I did hear that using the brand name, I think it's, what is it called? Let me get it just to make sure. Ball. They say use the Ball brand name cans are the best. However, I didn't find that out until afterwards. So I'm going to use what I have. And so again, this is how you use this tool here when you get ready to use that. You cannot reuse the seals. You only can use these one time. You can reuse these plenty of times, as much as you like, but these only are used once, and you have to get new ones. So let these got it supposed to air dry, then the brine stays on. Let's see how it looks. See, it need to be simmering, so I did forget to mention that earlier, that should have stayed on, but I'm just gonna let it continue to do what it's due. Another note is also keep a little bit vinegar on the side, or some water, boiled water or vinegar on the side, because you want to make sure you have enough brine to fill up your jars, because your jars supposed to be filled up to the top. When you use this tool here, I forgot what it's called, a debubbler. It can do measurements, and it also can flip around and get the bubbles out of the jar, which is great. So this is going to be a good tool. This is the tool that you're going to need to use when you're doing that part. So make sure you have this tool here. Now is I'm going to get some boiling water. Just have it ready just in case, because this does not look like it's enough. I really don't know how many I'm going to have, but I want to have enough to cover what I'm doing. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn this on this side so it can get really nice and stay hot. It's warm, but I want it to be hot and simmering. Okay, so because I want to make sure I have enough of the brine, what I did was I did 1 cup of water, 1 cup of vinegar. I did all the different seasonings that I had put in the original brine. The original brine here I put into there. I'm also going to put just maybe like a little bit sugar. Let me see what I'm looking at. Okay, so 2 cups of water, 1 cup of vinegar. I add all of the ingredients, and I'm just going to add, I'm eyeballing the sugar, and I'm going to put this onto the stove so that it can simmer. Now, keep in mind, you may not need to do this. You may have more than enough brine. I'm not sure if I have enough brine, so it's best to have it if you're unsure, because you want everything to be hot. You don't want to do cold, nothing. Everything should be pretty much the same temperature. Hot brine, hot brine. Not hot brine, cold brine. You want everything to be hot. The jars, hot, everything. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on and bring it to a boil. All right, so now your pickles have sat for 3 hours in the refrigerator. I took them out. There's the liquid that drained out. So now I have heard some people say they keep that salt and they put it into their brine. They wash off all the salt and put it in. So it's optional. For me, I'm not gonna put the salt in there. I know some people might have dietary issues or concerns and they don't want to use this. So you don't have to use this salt. It's not necessary. But I'm gonna leave the salt on it, but I'm not gonna put this salt into here. I'm gonna put these in here and bring it to a boil. Matter of fact, let me turn my stove up so it could be exactly to a boil. Just for about a minute or two. Okay, there we go. Let me get all the onions and everything out. Okay, so I moved it to the front so it can really get on the larger burner. All right, so I think this is good enough. Take it off of the fire so we'll not cook anymore. So I'm gonna push them back off the fire. All right, so the next step we're gonna do is go to the canning jars. And you're gonna start taking your jars one at a time out, and you're gonna fill them with the brine. Okay, so be careful, it's hot. Pour the water out. Take your jar over. Okay, make sure you have something thick to lay them on because it's gonna be very hot. Then you're gonna need your little ladle. Get your brine. You're gonna pour it in. Because it might be too much in. Okay. Let's try to get that in there real good. Let me get something to get some of those. Let me see if I can get them in there first. So let's see. This might not be bad. Let me see. Okay, so then you take your other side and you see. See, so you have a little bit more space right here to add some brine in there. So we're going to do that. Okay. That's about right there where you want it to be. And that's your first jar. Then you're going to put the lid on. Put your top. Oh, 1 second. I forgot one thing, guys. Make sure you take a napkin. Make sure you get all that vinegar or anything that, oh, yeah, boy, it's hot. It's hot. You could do vinegar too. I'm just gonna make sure, and you checking it too as well. Make sure there's no cracks on it too, because it could happen. You never know. This is important because you want it to seal, making sure everything's off allows it to seal properly. Oops, there you go. Okay, so your top is on there. And you put your top on, and the goal is just to finger tight it like that, because you don't want to like put it on super tight, because when you put it back into the water canning, it doesn't have that oxygen to release out of the can. So hopefully this will work. Again, these are not the balls jars. These are regular jars that I got. So eventually it's supposed to expand, and when it come out the water bath, it's supposed to pop. So then you go take this, grab it, you put it back into the water. All right. And be careful because you don't want to crack any other ones. And then you go to the next one. So grab the next jar and do the same process until you fill them all up. So you just repeat the same process until you have all of them in there. Make sure you get all the air bubbles out if there are any. And then go through doing a measure again to check to make sure you have that head space there. And this needs a little bit more too. So do that and just repeat the same thing. All right, so I end up doing only 4 full jars. So I have all of them into my canning, my water bath canning. Turn your heat up to high. You want this to boil for 10 minutes. So we're going to set an alarm for 10 minutes. Then after 10 minutes, you're going to turn it off and let it cool for 5 minutes and then take them out. And hopefully these will ping like they are supposed to. So put your top on, 10 minutes, set your timer, then turn the heat off and let it cool for 5 minutes and then remove it. Okay, so this is the jar that I was not able to complete because I didn't have enough. So, you know, I love doing my favorite part. I'm gonna do that now so I can tell you what that tastes like prior to it being canned. Okay, let's see. Oh, wow. It's honestly really good. The one thing I would remove is the salt. Because I do taste a lot of salt. Maybe after it boils on high for 10 minutes, it may remove some salt. It may evaporate or what have you, I'm not sure. But next time when I do the salt, I am going to rinse the salt off for my purposes. But I am really pleased with my first canning. Came out really, really well, minus the salt. The taste is there, everything. It's just that I would have preferred to have washed the salt off. But this is my very first time, and I wanted to see if I can mimic the original recipe. And did a very well job. So we're going to do this last part and we'll be about done, guys. Okay, so you turn your stove off, turn your timer off, set it for 5 minutes, let it cool for 5 minutes, then take them out. All right, 5 minutes, cool down. All right, that's 5 minutes. Now what you do is you take them out. They're supposed to ping. They might ping now, or they may, oh, I think I kind of heard something. Or they may ping within 24 hours. So we will see. Well, I won't see because, and try to lift them straight out because you don't want to twist and turn them. You want to keep them straight up as you're lifting them out. Oops, let's make sure you grab them real good first. That's a big no-no. Okay. And then you can just tap the water off yourself with a napkin once you get them all out. Now, I can tell you the difference now from, ooh, I didn't mean to do that. I can tell you the difference now between the balls and this brand here. off the top, I see why I guess it may be a recommendation if you're going to do canning to make sure you're canning correctly, because the ball has like a little ping thing right in the middle, so you can see that indention there, where you can say, oh, I see the ping part is up, so that will let you know for sure that it is really sealed. Oh, that one does have one. I see it. It's very, very vague. Let me get closer. Wow, I heard that one. But see right there's like a little indent. That's what you want to hear. So I did hear that. I'm very happy to hear that. This one, I don't really see it. So 24 hours. And once that's done, you know that's done, these are shelf ready to go. The ones that are not shelf ready to go, I think that one might have pinged too, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to let them sit here 24 hours and then just see what happens tomorrow. Again, if they are shelf ready, you can leave them in the shelf. I think it's 18 months. I'll double check. That's the official word from my understanding. And if you keep them in the refrigerator, you know, you can do 6 months. Some people do up to a year, but the contents may be a little different, which means the pickles may be a little soft or smushy because they've been in there for a year. But 6 months is supposed to be great. So I'm glad everything came out well. They was tangy, sweet. I'm going to continue to perfect them. Thanks for watching. Peace and love. Have a great day.